Hello again. I'm going to do a book tag. I got it from the channel Pages and Pens, which I'll put down below, and she in turn got it from Peter Likes Books. It's called The World's Worst Book Tag, which I'm presuming is because there's no real rhyme or reason to the questions. Let's just have a look here. Right, number one. By the way, the questions I'll also put down there. And if you haven't been tagged in this yet, I'll tag you now. What book or series would you force your enemy to read? Ooh, if I was that way inclined, i.e. mean, and someone I really didn't like was very sensitive, maybe I'd give them something like Naked Lunch. I mean, I don't know if I actually would do that though, because I would lay awake for nights on end worrying that I'd ruined someone's brain. But we'll say Naked Lunch. Okay. 2. What book have you tried to read several times but haven't been able to finish? Blimey. I've tried to read Lord of the Rings a couple of times and I get a certain amount into it and I have to just admit defeat. So I kind of guess that it's just not for me. 3. What book has a close friend recommended that you ended up loving? Jenny Lawson, Let's Pretend This Never Happened. It is really funny. She does a blog, she's called The Bloggess, and her book Let's Pretend This Never Happened is hilarious. I've talked about it in a video before. Her father did taxidermy. She had a fairly unusual rural childhood in America, and she just manages to make everything funny. So my friend really made me into a fan. 4. What book in the last year took you the longest to read because you're lazy? Well, I'm probably going to have to say I read a book on Byron, which I'm going to be talking about around the middle of October for a big gothic book thing for Halloween that I'm going to do. And I had to keep taking breaks and reading other things in between because I'm one of those strange people that kind of reads 3 books at once sometimes. I don't know if it's because I've got a particularly short attention span or if people secretly do that and just don't admit to it. But this book on Byron took me a fair amount of time to read. What is the fastest book you've read in the last 5 years because it was so damn good? Oh my goodness. Richard Ayoade on Richard Ayoade. Surprisingly enough, by Richard Ayoade. It was really funny and I read it sort of in between writing a novella, and I would take a break and read some of that and go back to it, and it really made me laugh. I think most people expected it to be like a typical film studies type book and were disappointed when they realised that it was kind of nonsense from his brain, but I really liked that. I have quite a lot of comedians' books, so that one I think I read very quickly. 6. Clear your mind. What are the first 3 books that immediately come into your mind? Okay, I'm clearing my mind. Brant Wamack, sorry if I said that wrong, W-A-M-A-C-K. He's got a light bulb for a head, light bulb head man. It's not called Light Bulb Head Man. Lord of the Rings, that just popped in there. Cartoons in the Suicide Forest by Lisa Cantoral, which is another good one. Short stories, you should read it. 7. Last book you will admit to skimming, brackets, cheater. Yeah, I'm going to have to admit to skimming Witchfinders by Malcolm Gaskill. If you're studying the UK witch trials, it is really informative, and I do recommend it for anyone who's going to be looking into that. Again, this is going to be in the big gothic book video that I'm going to do, but as entertainment I don't think that it was really my cup of tea. I don't know. I don't know what it was about it. It just kind of started really fascinating, and then as it went on, it just seemed to become a load of events and names and more stuff, and for some reason my attention with it really just waned. 8. What author, if they secretly dropped a brand new book tomorrow, would you immediately have to buy and begin to read ASAP? Generally, I'll say anything by Neil Gaiman. I really like Neil Gaiman, and I think I've got most of his books, so yes. 9. Favourite book / type of book to read in bed and by the pool? Well, I really hate going by the pool. I'm not a beach or pool type holiday person ever. But in bed, it could really be anything that I'm reading at the time. But if it's night time, I do enjoy a good Victorian ghost story or some sort of weird fiction. But I really enjoy non-fiction biographies as well, particularly if it's about an unusual person. But yeah, bedtime, I'm going to say Victorian ghost stories, big favourite of mine. Number 10. What book would you give to your best friend and force them to read because it's so good? I know that most of us like Neil Gaiman, so I'll go with anything by Neil Gaiman. So those are all the questions for the world's worst book tag. I didn't find it particularly worst. I thought it was rather fun. If you've got any comments or anything, let me know. Bye.